man convicted of manslaughter and sexual assault in the death of a 13-year-old in Puslinch will soon begin his statutory release. The parole board has raised concerns about Christopher Watts, his lack of remorse, and his risk to reoffend. But next month, he'll reach the required 2/3 of his sentence. CTV's Krista Simpson's here now to take us through the details of this case. Krista.
Tony, Christopher Watts has already served his original sentence for the events that happened back in 2001. He is now serving a sub-sentence for breaching the conditions of his long-term supervision order. And it is not the first time that he has done that. It was 2001 when Amanda Raymond went to a party at Christopher Watts' home on Puslinch Lake. He gave her drugs that left her in a coma. Watts refused to let anyone call for help and sexually assaulted Raymond, wrote obscene words on her body, and took pictures and video. He was convicted in 2003 of manslaughter, sexual assault, and sexual interference. Watts was sentenced to 12 years. After that followed a 10-year long-term supervision order, which has been suspended more than 10 times due to Watts not following the conditions put on him. He was convicted twice of those breaches, both involving interactions with females under 18 years old. Watts is now nearing the 2/3 mark of his second sub-sentence. While the Parole Board of Canada denied him day parole, he will reach his legislative statutory release date, November 13th, yet another painful milestone for Raymond's family.
It's just very disheartening, and it is kind of laughable at this point because it just happened so many times, and it feels like it's never going to end for my family.
Watts is now 64 years old. These photos of him were put out by various police forces when he was released in the past, warning of his presence in the community. The Parole Board of Canada's latest decision once again raises concerns about Watts' likelihood to reoffend, stating your risk for general recidivism is in the moderate-high range. Your risk for violent recidivism in the high range, and your risk for sexual recidivism is well above average. The documentation also outlines Watts' repeated attempts to change details in his records and his refusal to admit he committed sexual offenses. You are fixated on alleged file errors and ignore your conditions of release and long-term supervision order at will, the Parole Board decision states. At another point it reads, the board asked what you need to do to reduce your risk. You said your risk probably would not change until you get a chance to go to court and change some of the errors in your file.
Even at this point, 24, 25 years later, he still doesn't want to take full responsibility for what he did to my sister.
When Watts receives statutory release, he will have to live in a halfway house or approved psychiatric facility, and he faces a long list of restrictions, including prohibitions around being in places where children and teens are likely to be, or being alone with any female under the age of 18. He's not to go to Toronto, Kingston, or Kitchener-Waterloo without prior written permission from his parole supervisor. He also can't own or use a computer or any devices that take photos, video, or audio recordings. Watts telling the parole board he didn't think all the conditions are necessary. For Raymond's family, each hearing is difficult.
It's so unfair to us, and it's so unfair to Amanda, and I don't know, it's just ridiculous.
While remembering Amanda for the vibrant person she was.
It seemed like everybody knew her, everybody in the neighborhood. She seemed to get along with pretty much everybody.
Watts says he already has a job lined up for when he is released. He's also working on a new career, writing books. In fact, he already has had one published under a pseudonym. It's about navigating arrest and incarceration in Canada.